Cynthia always loved Mondays. Most people dreaded them, but for her, they were a fresh start, a clean slate. A high school teacher in a small Midwestern town, she spent her mornings greeting sleepy teenagers with warm smiles and motivational quotes on the whiteboard. But that Monday was different. As Cynthia walked into room 204, she noticed an empty seat in the back row, unusual because every seat had been assigned, and her students were generally punctual. The seat had belonged to Marcus, a soft-spoken, brilliant black student who had transferred mid-year from Chicago. She waited until the end of homeroom, then checked the attendance. Marcus was marked absent. Later, during her free period, she asked around. The counselor's office told her Marcus had withdrawn from school. "Why?" she asked. The counselor shifted uncomfortably. There were some complaints. Parents said he was disruptive. But his grades were perfect. It wasn't academic. Cynthia knew what it was. Marcus was one of the only black students in the school, and disruptive was often a coded word. Later that day, Cynthia found a note tucked beneath her door. It was from Marcus. "Ms. C, I'm sorry I had to leave. It wasn't you. You were the first teacher who saw me, really saw me, but I didn't feel safe here. I felt like a shadow, like something people avoided, not a person. Thank you for treating me like I mattered. Marcus." Cynthia sat alone in her classroom, heart heavy, eyes damp. That night, she couldn't sleep. She thought about her classroom walls, covered with posters about kindness, empathy, and social justice. But were they just decorations? Had she really acted on those values? The next day, she did something she hadn't done before. She brought up the topic of racism openly in class. At first, the room was silent. Then a girl named Ava raised her hand. "I never knew Marcus felt that way. I liked him. I just didn't know what to say to him." Another student added, "I think my dad was one of the parents who complained. He said Marcus looked like trouble." A few kids nodded in uncomfortable agreement. For the first time, Cynthia saw her students not as passive listeners, but as participants in something deeper, something hard, messy, and vital. She gave them a project. Each student had to write a letter to someone they had judged unfairly or misunderstood. Many chose Marcus. 3 weeks later, Cynthia mailed the bundle of letters to Marcus's mother, unsure if he'd ever see them. He did. A month passed. Then came the unexpected. Marcus returned, not as a student, but as a speaker for the school's first ever Anti-Racism Awareness Day. He stood before a full auditorium. His voice trembled at first, but grew stronger. "I didn't leave because of one person," he said. "I left because silence can be louder than hate. But silence can also change, if people are willing to speak up." Cynthia watched from the back of the room, tears in her eyes. After his speech, dozens of students lined up to thank him. Some cried, some hugged him, some apologized. In the hallway afterward, Marcus turned to Cynthia. "You told me once that I mattered. Now I believe it." From that day forward, things changed in that small school. Not overnight, but steadily. More conversations, more awareness. Fewer whispered stereotypes and more open questions. Cynthia started a diversity and inclusion club. Students of all backgrounds joined. It wasn't perfect, but it was real. Sometimes it just takes one empty seat to show how full a heart can become. If this story touched you, please like the video and subscribe to our channel for more heartwarming stories that matter. Your support helps us share more voices, more truths, and more hope. Thank you for watching.